I always like to think of states as laboratories of democracy, and California's happens to be a pretty big one, a pretty big laboratory. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm delighted that you're on this hearing, on this committee, and you could come with us and join us today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proud to represent not only a great laboratory of democracy, but most populous and diverse state in the nation, largest electorate of any state in the nation, and the fourth largest economy in the world. With that being said, let me brag a little bit about California's low-carbon fuel standard. It's helping to advance a wide range of clean fuels while at the same time keeping consumer costs low and fostering clean fuel investments. California continues to grow its economy and reduce its emissions. The program's tech-neutral approach, greater long-term predictability, and cost containment mechanisms have provided certainty and flexibility. And I know prior to my opportunity to ask questions, there was a lot of California-specific comments and questions by my colleagues in the committee. But this program has been so successful that other jurisdictions are joining California, which is evident in the Pacific Coast Collaborative, a regional agreement between the states of California, Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia to strategically align policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote clean energy. My first question is for Mr. Graff. You talk about certainty, flexibility, and technological neutrality as essential ingredients to any low-carbon fuel program. Can you expand on how California's low-carbon fuel standard provides a certainty and flexibility to industry?
Senator, thank you for the question. There is no question that California's LCFS program drove the introduction of zero-emission vehicles. And the recognition that in order to go ahead and fuel those vehicles, it recognized that the real point was carbon intensity, and it was agnostic in terms of the pathways or the technologies to get there. For Air Liquide, we have a long history. It's core in our culture to be sustainable in our approach. And we see our commitment to our climate goals, the world's climate goals, as well as the energy transition, with hydrogen as a core component of delivering that. So for us, the ability to go ahead and leverage the ability to work with the automakers to provide the renewable hydrogen for the nascent development of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles was paramount in our decision to invest a $250 million liquid hydrogen plant in Nevada to meet those needs. What's important is that in that plant, we utilize both renewable power and we use biogas, the attributes of biogas, in order to produce that renewable hydrogen. As a result, we're leveraging many technologies in order to go ahead and meet the needs.
So if I heard you correctly, California's program was paramount in your decision, not just whether or not to make the investment, but where to invest in clean hydrogen production. Is that correct?
It clearly enabled the introduction of the zero-emission vehicles. We needed to demonstrate what that could mean, not just for the state of California, but for the country and the world. We wanted to find that opportunity to demonstrate what could happen, and we wanted to locate those things logistically as close to the market as possible. It's good to minimize logistics. It also creates value, creating jobs in those communities in which you're going to use that product.
Yep. Thank you. Follow-up question for Mr. Cooper. Could you elaborate on the RFA's pledge to achieve a net zero carbon footprint by 2050 and talk about how low carbon fuel standards, not just in California, let's add Oregon to the conversation, may have contributed to innovation in the biofuels sector?
Absolutely, and thank you for the question, Senator. I did mention our pledge, our members' pledge to achieve net zero emissions by 2050 or sooner in my opening remarks, and this is a pledge and a commitment that our membership is taking very seriously. They're already taking steps and making investments to reach that goal. Today, ethanol already reduces greenhouse gas emissions by about 50% compared to gasoline. So we've got, we're halfway there, but with the adoption of technologies like carbon capture and sequestration, with the adoption of lower carbon farming practices upstream of our facilities, replacing fossil natural gas with renewable natural gas at our facilities, all of those practices and technologies will continue to drive the carbon intensity lower for corn ethanol, and we absolutely think we can get there by 2050 or sooner. And a lot of those investments are happening today, and they're being driven by the California LCFS. They're being driven by the Oregon program. Again, our member producers that serve those markets, their top priority is doing everything they can to reduce the CI, the carbon intensity of those fuels. And so they are making investments, and that was the purpose of the program. And it's why we think a similar program at the national level would be a great way to rapidly reduce emissions from the transportation sector.
Thank you both. My time is up, Mr. Chair. Let me just end with this. Imagine that. Public policy, private investment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's a good note to emphasize. We've been joined by our new colleague from Oklahoma, Sir Mullen. Delighted to see you today. I just want to mention before I turn to you for your questions, this committee has a remarkable